Hello, Free. Tell us who you are.
So my name is Free Kinlow. I am an intuitive life coach, and I'm a mother of three. Two I gave birth to. One I was blessed with by the universe. What else you want to know about me?
I want to know what brings you here today.
Ooh, we are going to talk about incarceration, what happens when a mother goes through it as well. Oftentimes we look at the person that's incarcerated, right?
Yes.
And we don't think about the effects that it has on the family.
Yes.
And what happens to the mother and what the mother goes through and all the emotions and the feelings and, oh, it's just so much.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to talk about.
Okay, so let's start with your son, because that is who I know is incarcerated, but the people don't know. So let's get into that.
He was.
What was his life like?
So prior to, in order to tell you about his life, I have to tell you about the beginning.
Okay.
Right? When I first he was conceived, I knew the minute we finished, I was on a sneaky link. Don't talk about it. Don't judge me. But, but when we were on a sneaky link, and the moment I finished, I knew that I was pregnant. Right? And I often say you can't help but know that you're pregnant when you're giving birth to someone who has such a high calling. Right? I call it a God, and for those who, not the God, but a God,
Yes.
And so fast forward, I was pregnant with him and I didn't know I was having a boy, and I had a dream, and in the dream he was handed to me out of what I at that time would call heaven.
Okay.
Right? Because now I have moved on in my thoughts about heaven. But he was handed to me, and they said, we've given him back to you. You have to give him back to us. I said, okay. Now, when they gave him to me, I grabbed his feet. When I grabbed his feet, my stomach fluttered. I woke up. So then little things happened. When I was about 6 months pregnant, they told me that I needed to come in to have an amniocentesis because they thought that he was going to have spinal bifida. All the blood work and things said that he was going to be deformed. So I had to go have a test run. They did the test, and then after the test was done, she called back. She said, no, he's fine. He's normal. Do you want to know what you're having? I said, I already know. It's a boy, because they already told me. Oh my God, he came. He was just the most beautiful baby, very smart, advanced. He moved very quickly. And then he was in the 8th grade and he got caught with weed. I got a call. I was so shocked because he was so amazing. Like, he didn't ever, I thought, do anything wrong. This was my baby.
Yeah.
Firstborn. Everybody loved him. The first grandchild on both from my mom and my dad, Oh, Lord, honey. And then I started to find out some of the things that he would do. And he stopped going to high school. And then he decided, I'm going to go back. Nobody made him. He went back. He did what he was supposed to do. He went to college. He was doing so well. I was so proud of him. And then after, I guess, a little bit of time, my mother decided she didn't want to be by herself anymore at the house. So she asked him to come home.
Okay.
Right. And I get it. She was older, and that was her baby more than my baby, really. Right. Because I had him when I was a senior in college. So that was her baby. Well, he came home. And then I'm a dreamer. So I started having these dreams. I had a dream that he was in my mom's car and that he was going to get arrested, that he was doing something in the car that he had no business doing. And I called him, because I'm going to always warn you. I called him. I said, I don't know what you're doing in that car. I don't know what you got going on, but I'm telling you, you're going to get caught. Something is going on. Right? Maybe 3 days later, he called me crying and he said, Mama, I don't know how to be a man. My dad is not here to teach me. My grandfather has transitioned because he was really close with my dad. That was his daddy, basically. And he said, my granddad's not here to teach me. I don't know what to do. And I said, baby, just hold on. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. He said, I don't know my father. Oh, it was a lot. It was a lot. And I said, it's going to be okay. Just hold on. He was living in Greenville, South Carolina. I was living here in Atlanta. Maybe a week later. Now, mind you, this is probably about 2 weeks after the dream. My mother calls me. Now, I'm trying to do another little sneaky link. Shouldn't have been.
You and these sneaky links, honey.
I'm at the car dealership, posted up talking to somebody. We sitting in the car after I got my car serviced and all this stuff. And I get the call from my mom. Well, your son gone to jail. And in that moment, I said, well, maybe it's what he needs. It'll be all right. Right? So in that moment, I spoke from divinity because I knew that it was all a part of it.
Yeah.
But maybe about an hour later, that mama stuff started setting in, and I was like, wait a minute. My baby gone to jail? What? So I called my mother back, and I said, well, what did they say? Girl, I don't know. They say he robbed somebody. I said, robbed somebody? Now, this is the dude that would give you the shirt off his back. From when he was a little baby, he was always giving stuff away. So I said, no, they got the wrong person. Surely that can't be. I said, no, this is a mistake. I know he didn't do this. I got on my Facebook an inbox from Fox TV Network. And they said, do you have any comments on your son, Ian Kinlow? At that moment, it hit me that this shit is real, you know. We couldn't talk to him. I couldn't talk to him. He couldn't call me. It was so much. My mother couldn't go down there and see him at that time because, you know, everything was being processed and all of this. And it was happening so fast, so fast. And then I got mad at God. And I said, now, God, you were supposed to keep him. You said you are a keeper. And at that time, I was really into the church, right? Even though I was on my little own stuff. I still love God and I was into the church. But I was angry. And when I said, God, you were supposed to keep him, God said I did. That's why he's in jail. And I remember laying on the bathroom floor. I'm real squeamish about the bathroom and things like that. You know, even in my own house. I didn't care. I laid prostrate on the floor crying. And I said, God, I surrender all to you. Please take care of my son. Whatever this is, God, he could not have done this. And I mean, I was snot crying, you know, serious crying. And I stayed there in fetal position after a while. And I had no clothes on. I was naked. When I say I laid before God, I laid it all on the throne, all of it. And I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried. And in that moment after, I may have been there for like 2 hours just laying on the floor crying. And I kept saying, how? How? Why? Why? Not to mention we were a very popular family in Greenville, South Carolina, right? So everybody knew my dad. All the judges, the lawyers, they were all his friends. And I think I was embarrassed maybe.
Yeah.
You know, like how in the world could this happen? You know, and then this can't be real. Not my son.
Yeah.
There's no way, right? I stayed with it. Finally, I was able to talk to him on the phone. And he was crying. Oh, my God, crying. Mama, I can't stay in here. I can't do it. I can't survive. Mama, please, I can't survive. So, of course, all kind of things started going through my head. Is he going to, look, honestly, are they going to rape him? Are they going to, because he's not cut out for this.
Yeah.
Is he going to be okay? Are they going to beat him up? What did I do? Did I do something wrong? Maybe I should have had him with me instead of letting him be with my mom. All kind of things went through my head. His father's not around, so I felt like, did I not compensate enough for his father being absent? You know, so much. And I finally got an opportunity, my daughter and I, to go see him. And when I went to see him, all he said was, Mama, I'm so sorry. He said, I didn't even think you were going to come see me.
Wow.
And I said, why? He said, because I thought you were embarrassed or you would be mad at me. Angry. I said, no, baby, I'm going to rock with you no matter what. I love you no matter what. And he said, Mama, when I went to go, I asked God to forgive me of my sins because I knew I shouldn't have done this. Now, he didn't rob any. So let me preface this by saying, because I'm not by any means the type of mother that says, my son, da-da-da. At the time I did. So I will say he wasn't the one that robbed, but he was driving the car which is the same difference.
Yes.
Which takes it back to the dream. I said, whatever you doing in that car, you better stop. Right? Yeah, it was a lot. I know you asked me one thing. It feels so good to get this story
Yes.
out. I'm just, you know.
So you visit him in the jail. You tell him you're going to rock with him. You go through all of these questioning yourself. Was I not enough? His father wasn't around. How do you think his father not being around played into all of this?
Big impact, right?
Yeah.
Because when my father transitioned, and he transitioned in 2001, he was young, so he didn't have that father figure. I'm a firm believer that a father in the household is very important. Can we as women do it? Yes, we can, but we cannot teach them how to be a man.
Right.
We cannot teach them that you don't have to be cool, you know. And this is not to say that all men go through that, right?
Yeah.
Because there are some men who are raised by women and that is not their destiny, right? There are others who they've chosen before they got here. That's a whole nother story. That life happens to be the way that they go in order for them to come into their best selves. So I know that if his father, you know, it's two parts to that, right? Because everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything is the way that it is supposed to be, whether we like it or not. So that part of me that says, if his father was around, I know that he would have done this, or I don't think it would have happened. But then there's this other part of me that says, well, if his father was around, would he have learned the lesson?
Right.
Could something else have happened? Right? In that. So I do believe a father needs to be in the household, but his journey is his journey. And that is actually what God told me. It's his journey. It's not yours. This has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with him. Everything.
So you leave the jail from visiting him. What did that feel like for you?
I cried because I couldn't bring him home.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like my whole world was falling apart. This is my baby. It just, at that point, I didn't care about what people thought anymore. I was more or less trying to figure out, okay, let's hit the ground. What are we going to do? How are we going to take care of this? Now, had my father been alive, he would have had a lawyer with no problem. I couldn't find any lawyer. It was just, and even at that time, I didn't have the money
Yeah.
to take care of paying for a lawyer, what they were wanting to charge. And I'm thinking this would never happen if my father was around. Why is this happening now when I don't even have the money for it? My mother had just gone through breast cancer. So it was a whole lot, you know. And I said, okay, I got to pray. I got to keep making sure that he's covered. I got to keep covering him. I got to let him know that I love him. And my daughter at the time, she was, of course, you know, she's 6 years younger than him. And he wasn't even 21 yet. He was 20. And she said, my brother going to be okay. He going to be okay, Mama. He going to be okay. But that's not what I felt. I still was, even though they said it's his journey, I still was beating up on myself. You know, I guess you would say that was a selfish moment for me.
Yeah.
Right? As a mom. Because it's when you do all you can as a single mother, you think you do all you can. When you give them everything that they desire, when you make sure they have everything, when you support them, right, in whatever, and then this happens, I don't know that I was angry at him. I was angry at me. You know, and then I started thinking about when I had the dream where you said, we're going to give him to you. Now you have to give him back to us. So I kept thinking, well, is he going to die in jail? You know, what am I supposed to do? And oh my goodness, I kept money on the phone, of course, you know.
Yeah.
I would mentally speak to him. I would just say, call me. I just need to know you're okay. Call me. And maybe about 5, 10, 15 minutes later, he called. And I told him that that's what I was doing because I just needed to know that he was okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't okay, but that he was okay. But I was trying to be okay for him.
Yeah.
Because he was crying and he was so, you know, he was like, what the hell did I do?
Yeah.
What have I gotten myself into that I can't get out of? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he goes to court.
Well, he gets out.
Okay.
They released him out on bond. He wasn't supposed to.
Okay.
But everything worked out for him. He got out. His ass went to go get some weed. Got caught. Said he had another warrant for him in another city. And he got caught. So he had to stay in there until he goes to court. We go to court. I'm there. I drive up from Atlanta. My daughter and I, we go to support him, and they ask the parent, the mother to speak, the grandmother to speak, everybody to speak, and then the people somebody that was robbed, their family was there, and they let them speak, you know, as well. And they were just, you know, God loved them. God loves them. That's, you know, and because it was 3 of them, not just my son. And when she says, the judge couldn't believe it because my son had never been in trouble like that before. Never. You know, in 8th grade, get caught with weed. Okay.
Yeah.
Truancy officer. But he had never been in trouble. So the judge said, this just doesn't make sense to me. None of this makes sense to me for him. Like, I don't even understand. I don't understand why. But they sentenced him to 12 years.
Oh my gosh.
Never been in trouble. Driving a car, 12 years. He had to serve 7. He was crying. He apologized to the family. He apologized to the family that, you know, was there. He apologized to my mother, to me, to my daughter. He was crying so hard. And that moment, and he had on regular street clothes.
Yeah.
Right? And that moment, they had to take him away. And just to see them taking him away, oh my God, everything shattered. For me, I felt like, because now what does life look like with my son, who I made all these plans for because he was so amazing and he was so wonderful. He was a musician. Anything he tried to do, he did well. He taught himself how to play drums. So he played drums in the church. So he was in the church all the time. So now what does life look like with my child being behind bars? What do I do? You know, how do I live? Am I supposed to just keep going? It took me a moment. I remember I was watching this movie called What If. By the time I got back to Atlanta, and I used to just sit in the room and I would just cry. Just sit there and cry. And at the time, I wasn't working a job because I was working on my own show at the time. So I would just sit in the room and cry. And I watched this movie late one night. It was called What If? And the movie was about a guy who had this beautiful life, elaborate life. And then he had the opportunity to say, what if you had made a different choice in your life, right? So I'm watching this movie and I'm crying throughout the whole movie because I'm thinking about my son. I'm thinking about they're gonna take him, you know. I have to give him back to them. I'm thinking, is he gonna die? All these things that you hear about what goes on in prison.
Yeah.
So all of this is all over me. And in the movie, he says, one of the guys who's an angel says, life is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. God loves you. He just wants you to love other people. No matter what you do, you are still God's favorite. And I thought about that. And I had this I call it a holy orgasm moment with God, because I really went into this space with God where I thought before, when I laid on the bathroom floor, I was prostrate, but that was more of a prayer of supplication. So that was me asking. God, make it work. God, take him out. God, don't let him do any time. God. But in that moment, after I saw that movie, I had a prayer of gratification. My prayer changed. And it was more or less, thank you. And God, you said you're keeping him. Whatever it is that he's supposed to go through in there, allow it. And I mean, when I say I was face to face with God, face to face, it was better than any orgasm that I could ever have, right? Better than that sneaky link one.
And hollering.
But it was so beautiful, that moment with God. And I went to sleep. It put me to sleep, right? I woke up the next morning and I was in the shower. And I don't know, in me, everything changed. I said, I let it go.
You could breathe.
I could breathe.
Yeah.
When I say that was a waiting to exhale moment, I had been holding my breath the entire time. I had been beating myself up the entire time. But in that moment, when that holy orgasm hit, I forgave myself. I honored my son, because he was bold enough to go through it. For whatever reason, he chose that life before he got here. Whatever he's supposed to teach, whatever was supposed to be for the world or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. All of those things. I thought about it. And I want to go back, because when he was, I would never forget, when he was, I want to say 10 maybe, we had gone to Florida, Orlando, Disney World. And we saw this guy at Walmart in the grocery store. And he stopped. Now, I'm walking with my son, but he walks up to my son. He's 10. And I'm, mama, like, what you doing? And he says, son, do I know you? And my son looked at me and then looked at him and said, no. He said, I don't know you in this life, but I know you. He said, things are going to happen to you that you're not going to be able to explain. You're going to ask God, why does it keep happening to you? He said, but it is necessary because of the calling that you have on your life. It is necessary because of the work that you're going to do for God. It is necessary because of what you have to do for this world.
Wow.
He said, I'll see you again. And he left just like that. So that morning in the shower, I started thinking about all of that. And I surrendered. And then he calls me on the phone. And he started that crying. Mama, please. Mama, I can't take it. Mama, I don't know what to do. And prior to, I said, oh, God, I hope he doesn't kill himself in there. That was my thought, right? And when he called that morning, I said, suck it up. You did what a man would do. You did a manly deed. So now you're going to do the time. You're going to be all right. You're going to stop all this crying. You're going to lay your ass down. You're going to take this bed like a man, and you're going to be all right. I love you, and I'm going to ride it with you. But we're not going to do this whining because you did it. Now suck it up.
Woo! And what did he say?
Okay. I love you. Hung up. And from that moment on, it changed. Everything changed with him doing his bid. Now, I still went through every month, sometimes twice a month. I would go see him no matter where they moved him to. I think he moved maybe 3 or 4 times, right? He called. Now, that didn't take away the fear of every time you got that phone call. And I could tell when something was off. One time a few times he had been in the lockup. What you go to lockup for? Where he had a damn phone, cell phone. you know, country man,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So different things happened while he was in there. But I handled it different than what I did
In the beginning.
in the beginning, right? Because in the very beginning, I was like, well, it's what he need. But then that mama set in, that human self set in, right? Mm-hmm. And then I wanted to change everything. Do you know what it feels like? I know that there are so many parents out here that can speak to that, whether your child has gone to prison or not. But when your child is going through something, whether they're sick, whether they are failing school, whether they have been through something that's gut-wrenching to them, whether they've been bullied, or whether they're in prison, and we as parents, especially mothers, we want to fix it.
Yes.
We want to fix it. We want to, even to the point of, take me, not my child. I can take it, but my child can't. Right? We want to do that. Mm-hmm. But what happens when we do that is we deprive them of the lesson. Mm-hmm. We don't allow them to grow and learn from their own journey. So that holy orgasm taught me how to shift my mindset and see it in a different light. And that's what I did.
So I want to fast forward because he did his prison bid. He got moved around. He gets out.
Ooh.
And I want to talk about this because this is something that you and I have talked at length about. Specifically that the sentence never ends. And so I want you to get into years removed from strong mom, stick it out, be the man. Now he's out here. It's, he did, how many years was it that he did?
7 years.
7 years.
Almost 8, yeah.
He gets out. Let's talk first the day he's released.
Honey, it was all of us in this one little car. My mother, my daughter, myself, my niece, we all went to go pick him up. And you got to take the clothes. Mm-hmm. So prior to, I had done all the shopping for him. I got him a whole big bag. I did a hotel room in Spartanburg because he was in a prison in Spartanburg by that time. But it was a level A or 1, like a low,
low security.
Yeah, low
minimum.
security. Yeah, minimum security. Oh my goodness. I was at the hotel. I didn't spend it for the whole weekend. I got a suite. We're going to celebrate. I go pick him up. I give the people the bag to say, this is what you have to do. We kept waiting. It seemed like it took forever. Probably didn't, but it just felt like that. When I saw him walk out those gates, looking like my son, dressed to the nines, and he started walking so fast coming to us, I cried. I was so happy. My mother cried. My mother was, thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Because my mama, she was the church.
Yeah.
She was the church, baby. So, but oh my goodness. Oh, we cried and we celebrated. And I said, where you want to go eat? He said, Zaxby's. What?
Listen, when you're in there, all you got time to do is think about the food, okay? It is the fast food you want. It's not the gourmet stuff. It's like, ooh, I just want something. For me, it would have probably been like Crystal, because that's my and I don't even like it like that. But if I'm meal prepping or anything like that, if I'm gonna cheat, I'm gonna do it with the worst. So shout out to Zaxby's and Crystal.
Okay. But that's what he wanted. And so we hugged. I think we stood in the parking lot, I don't know, maybe 30, 45 minutes just hugging and crying and just looking at him. And he looked so good, He looked so good. And we were just happy. And then he said, all right, enough is enough. I want to get off this yard. Let's go. We can hug somewhere else. But I'm ready to go. Let's go. So we went to Zaxby's, of course, and there was a lot of people came over to celebrate him. And at the time, I was taping a TV show. And so the camera people came and they watched him coming home and all this stuff. It was beautiful. It was a lot. It was too much for him coming home because I think he got overstimulated.
Yeah.
But it still was beautiful. So that was amazing.
So he gets settled. Walk me through what that looked like for you, not for him, but through the eyes of you watching him try to reacclimate. He's institutionalized.
Ooh, I mean real institutionalized. Constantly. You know, he didn't want to lay down. He was afraid when we were in the hotel that weekend and he was going to sleep on the floor. He didn't even want to go to sleep. He just stayed up. And I said, baby, you got to rest. You got to go to sleep. He said, I can't. You know, any little sound, any little noise, he was looking, watching people constantly, looking, always watching his back, you know.
How did that feel for you to witness that?
It made me feel like they've damaged my son. Can I get my baby back? You know. Now, he came out. I was very proud because while he was in there, he taught some lessons to me. And I told him I was glad to sit at his feet. So he came out on that knowledge, you know. But he just was different.
Yeah.
He wasn't my baby, you know. Part of that was a good thing. But the other part was to see him being so nervous, see him watching over his back. And then that thought for me was, what did he have to go through? Will he ever tell me everything he went through? Will he ever say the fights? Will he ever tell me how hard it was? How will I ever know? You know, how can I help him to get better? So, as a mother, I started to overcompensate because I didn't want him to go back. All I thought about was I just don't want him to go back. I just want to make sure that he's okay. So I gave and I gave and I gave and I gave and I gave constantly. And I kept telling him, I'm so proud of you. I believe in you, you know, because I wanted to reassure him that everything was okay, that I was proud of him. And I didn't want him to feel bad about, you know, coming out because I know how they look at you. We went to go get his license. He got those. That was good. He still was nervous. Because we picked him up in South Carolina, so we got the probation officer to allow him to come to Georgia with me because that was going to be the address. So he was here with me in Atlanta, and he was feeling, you know, like I'm less than a man. He wanted to move so quickly.
Yeah.
I wanted him to take his time, you know, because I know that it takes time to transition. But he wanted to move quick. He got a job. I was proud of him for his job. He's doing well. And then the probation people said he has to come back to South Carolina. I didn't want that because that's where he got arrested.
Yeah.
I didn't want him to start hanging out with the same people. I didn't want any of that. So I'm constantly worried. Every time the phone rings, I'm nervous. So that peace and calm that I had that came over me while he was in there when I finally said, tough mom, well, that disappeared when he got out. Because now it's a whole nother worry. You know, is he going to go back in the same thing? Is he going to get it with the wrong people? You know, how are they going to treat him? The cops going to look at him funny. I was constantly telling him, well, be careful when you go out there. Well, be careful. Well, don't do this. Well, don't do that. You know, and he was like, Mama, I got it. I'm okay. He said, you make me not want to go out because the minute you say, well, be careful, well, don't do this, I don't want to go because I feel like something's going to happen. You know, I didn't even go to sleep. And by this time, he a grown ass man, right? Yeah. But he wanted to go hang out. I'm up 12:30, 1 o'clock. I can't go to sleep until he's in the house because I just need to know that he's safe.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was going back through it all over again, you know, worried just about him.
Yeah.
Worried how people were going to treat him. Some of the people that were close to our family, they stopped talking to him. You know, he felt a certain way. They didn't want to have anything to do with him because of a mistake that he made, you know. So I would carry that. How can I make that better? The one good thing about him being in prison is he met his father.
Oh.
And they developed a relationship while he was in prison.
Wow.
Yeah. And they talked nonstop, and his father apologized, and so that was good. So he was able to talk to him when he got out. His dad wanted him to come with him, wanted him to change his name. That's not happening. He gonna keep that last name Kinlow. We're not doing that. But I think I just wanted to snap my fingers and make it all go away so he could have a chance at life.
Yeah.
Because they're so cruel. So cruel. You know, he's been turned down for so many things. He would go get a job, get it, because he could nail the interview with no problem. When you meet him, you're going to love him. People love him, you know.
Yeah.
But then when they do the background check, nope. Background check, nope. Got turned down so many times. And as a mother, it hurt me so much to see him going through that, right? And I'm like, how can we change this? And truth be told, not to mention, he's also a black young man.
Yeah.
You know, and he's going through. And sometimes, whether we want to admit it or not, the rules are different.
Yeah.
And how they see him is different.
Yeah.
You know, and I just wanted to change that for him.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I couldn't. I just had to keep telling them it's okay, and the right one's going to come along. The right one's going to come along. And then when he did get a job and things would happen, they would always revert back to somebody else did something within one of the jobs he was working on, right? They stole something. They automatically thought it was my son, but it wasn't. The other person was caught on camera. So then after you've done the time, you still got to keep paying for a crime that you've already paid for.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot. It's a lot. So much so I had to go in the spirit realm and say, listen, something's got to give. We can't keep punishing them for something that they've already paid the time for. They've already paid for it. So why do we keep putting them through so much? But yet you want them to come out here and be productive citizens, and you tell them that the American dream is to have a house and a car and all this, but yet you can't get a house because you got a criminal record. So, you know, you can't live in this neighborhood, you can't do this. It's a lot. It's a lot for them. And it's a lot for me as a mom, because I want to make it all right. And he's been out a while, and I still find myself when the phone rings, you know, that nervousness doesn't go away.
Yeah.
You know better. And now, of course, I see things a little bit better, but sometimes I still may have that little feeling. And don't let me have a dream about something. Oh, God, you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to call him, hey, be mindful of who you're hanging around, because who you think is your friend is not your friend.
Yeah.
You know. And then it'll come up, he'll call me, Mama, you were exactly right. You know. But I'm finding, let's see, he got out in 2019, I think it was. I'm finding that happy place where I know that his journey is his journey.
Yeah.
And I know that whatever path he takes is his path. And it is not a reflection of me as a mother.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've done what I can do. I've loved him through it all, and I will still love him through it all. The love I have won't ever change, right? But I am finding that space where his path is his path.
Yeah. So I want you to take a second and speak to the mothers. The mothers that their child is incarcerated or heading to incarceration. What would you say to them in this moment?
To the mothers who you may have children incarcerated, sons or daughters, or even grandchildren, know that it is not anything that you have done wrong, that their path is their path, that what it is for you to do is to love them no matter what. Ride it with them. Let them know you love them. Let them know that you're proud of them. I don't care what they've done. This is the moment where you got to love them like you would say God loves you. Love them that way. But realize that is their path. It is their journey. There's nothing that you can do to shift it. You can pour into them and you can guide them. But at the end of the day, it is their choice. But love them no matter what. Love them and let them know. And be a safe space. But not so safe that you want to take on the brunt for them that they missed a lesson. You're a safe space to be a parent, but let them get the lesson. Even for the ones who may be heading that way, you can pour into them, you can tell them, you can let them know. But whatever it is that they've chosen in this life, it is their journey. It is just for you to love them and always have their back and let them know. And know that if you are a mother and you're going through, I feel you, girl. I love you. And we're going to get through this thing together, no matter what.
Now, that was love and that was light and that was speaking to the heart. But I want to tap into one other thing before we get off here. Now I want you to speak to the fucked up justice system.
Oh, my God. First off, this justice system is not just us. It's just us. Just certain ones are going to survive. Just certain ones are going to be okay. Just certain ones are going to be looked after. You cannot keep putting people through all of these things and then expect for them to have a good life. And then when they go out here and they rob somebody else or they do something else because that's all they know, that's all you give them a space or a path for, then you want to put them back in again. It's enough. Time is out for you taking our babies and making examples out of them. It's not that. It's not that. So something within our justice system has got to give. It's got to give. They cannot keep paying for something that they've already paid for. The prisons have got to change. The food is ridiculous. The rats, the roaches, all of that shit is ridiculous. It's got to change. How can you expect somebody to change when you treat them like they are shit? But then you want to come out here, let them come out into society and still function. There has to be a better way. There has to be a better way that you can pour into them. Change it. Change the way that you are punishing our children. It's got to change. There's no compassion in prison. And it has to change. And let's not even talk about the lawyers and the things that all they want is just to get paid. They're not trying to make sure that you get a fair chance. Not all of them, because some of them are amazing. But there are some fucked up ones out there too, right? And y'all know. We just have to pull together and make sure that our justice system is no longer just us. It is just is. Just is. Has to be. Has to be. And there's so much more I could say, but I probably need to shut my mouth because I need to make sure.
Spill it, girl.
You know,
Spill
I
it. No, but this is what people need to hear, because you have a son that's been through incarceration. So you viewed it in the lens of pre-incarceration, middle of incarceration, post-incarceration, now post-incarceration. And we are friends, and I've also been incarcerated, and you know some of the people that I work with and whatnot, and the things that they deal with. And so this is a real issue. I was very fortunate, and we know why I was very fortunate. And I'm not ignorant to the fact of why I'm fortunate. And it's why I also do the work that I do, because I know that not everyone looks like me, and not everybody sounds like me, and not everybody has the white skin that I have that can walk through a door and get a yes in the face of all of my counterparts that get a no every single time. And it's time that people start shedding the light on this and standing up and saying enough is enough. Because in the state of Georgia, the prison systems here are ran by gangs. There's no control. There are people getting raped, beaten, stabbed, family members. They're calling them from cell phones, demanding money, $10,000, $5,000. We're going to stab your family member if you don't.
That's on purpose. You can't tell me that that's not on purpose. They allow that. Right?
Oh, they're allowing it.
They allow that because that makes it easy for them, because they're probably getting kickback.
They are.
You know how many wardens or whatever that's getting kickback? How many what do you call them? The people who are, what do you call the ones that are in the jail that they
the COs, correction officers.
Yeah, correction officers. Half of them sleeping with some of the inmates.
Oh, yes.
Getting kickback from some of the inmates.
Bringing in the drugs.
Bringing in the cell phones. The question is, how in the hell did the shit get in there in the first place?
Oh, it's definitely the staff bringing it in.
You know, so this whole it is all on purpose, and I don't want to make this, because it's not about race, because you know there ain't no race thing with us, right?
Yeah.
But it was set up for us to not succeed.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Oh, yes.
It was set up that way. You know, there's so many paths that this conversation can go.
Yeah.
Even with the women, you can't have a man in the household if you want to get assistance.
Yeah.
You got to be in the household by yourself. So then that takes the fathers out of the house. So then the fathers are out of the house. Well, guess what? If the father's not in the house to talk to them, to raise them, to teach them, the streets going to raise them and teach them. But then when the streets raise them and teach them, they're going to start doing some fucked up bullshit. And then you want to raise them in prison. And then when you raise them in prison, they come out, they can't even function in society.
Yeah.
You know? So it was set up that way. But that's all right, because it's changing. I don't care what anybody says. This is changing. It's got to change. It cannot continue the way it is.
Yes.
I'm not one, I probably get backlash from this, but I don't vote, because I don't think voting counts, right? But I will say this. It's important who you have in office.
Oh, yeah.
It's important who you have in office. So we have to start doing things. Some of us probably need to run for office. Shit, let me run for office. Switch some stuff, you know. It's important, you know, who you have that is backing you.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not talking about the president. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying your local office.
Governors. Mayors.
Important. And until we take a stand, and until we shift it, yeah, it's going to continue to be jacked up.
Yeah. Any closing words? Any final thoughts?
Final thought would be, to all those who are locked up and who have done prison time, I love you. Know that you are not by yourself. You are not alone. Things will get better. Just keep pushing. To the mothers, I got you, girl. If you would like to reach out to me so we can talk about this, I think we should probably have a support group for mothers who've had children or who have children that are incarcerated. Right? I think that would be good.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. My closing thoughts would be, it's their path, it's their journey.
Yeah.
I love you. And it's going to be all right. And shit is going to change.
How can people get in touch with you?
You can reach me at free, Free, at freedomloveexperience.com. That is my email address. Or you can find me on Instagram, IG. It's at freekenlow. Now, it looked like freaking low, but it's at freakenlow.
Freaking low.
On Facebook, I'm listed as Frederica Kenlow. You can reach out to me there. Yeah.
I will link all of her information also down below. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
And finally, us getting on this podcast of one of our many topics that we like to speak about. Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in today with the Fenced In podcast with Jennifer Rogers, and that's a wrap. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share for more content like this. And as always, no darkness can outshine the light within. Jennifer Rogers.